Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the Lebanon Board of Park Commissioners meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and show that all members are present. We do have a new member that she probably won't be joining us this evening. As soon as we get confirmation on that, we'll let you know. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the minutes from the December meeting? If so, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Old business. You want to do Brian on that?
Oh, okay. Yes, Brian, if you'd want to get up and speak and give an update on the Christmas. Brian had spoke before, Brian Benton, on the lighting of the Christmas lights at the Memorial Park, and we sat down last week, and I thought he'd update everybody today. Yeah. So there you go,
I have
Brian.
seen some things on Facebook, so good job.
Yep, good. I did talk with John Thursday. I do have a plan for laying a foundation that will take about 3 years to do. I don't think we can do it all in 1 year because I think we're looking at like $500,000 just to do.
Yeah, they're very expensive, yeah.
Yeah, but so I decided that we break the park up into 3 phases. The first phase would be the southwest corner, which is Long Camp and 39. That's the one that's going to be visible the most. I'm planning to increase our displays up to 50. Currently, I think we have about 30. Mm-hmm. And we'll put 30 of them along in that area and then spread the rest of them out through the park. I also would like to get lights to decorate all of the evergreen trees in the park. I think that would give us a good start for the first year. The second phase would be the water park area, which would also include that little area over by the maintenance buildings that's off of 39. And then the last area would be the back area, which I like to call the back 40. So basically that'd be the plan for that. For this year, first part of the year would be fundraising. I did see on one website where they like to have their orders in by July. So we would have to do a lot of fundraising in the first part of the year. After the 4th of July, I would like to take out all of our current displays and work on them, get them working, fully working. I know some animated ones have no controllers right now. They seem to be either misplaced or not working. So we need to get all those working because we need every display we can get. I will start to meet with volunteers this month, try to get a plan, finalize our budget, which I'm looking at maybe $150,000 just for that one area to do. So.
And we've talked about utilities, and Brian's seen the challenges that we have with all the utilities of where we don't have any outlets, and some of the outlets are challenged themselves because they aren't GFIs. They have lack of neutral wire coming through them, so some of those challenges. But I'll be meeting with the utilities and discussing with them to find out transformers or temporary lighting to the effect there and see if we can do some of those things. Brian's going to take care of the organization of basically the volunteers and helping with those type of things as we go forward with the lighting. He does, Brian agreed also, I think, with the lighting at Memorial Park. It's a dark park, like I said before. We have some security issues, which obviously are going to have to come first. But with that lighting that we come and the securities, then we can use off of those to do the lighting throughout there.
Have you got, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is just what we needed.
Yeah, a little progress there, yeah.
So
Have you guys thought anything in regards to possibly, instead of doing the the big lighting or the big electrical, doing some type of bigger generators, like portable generators for the first year?
Well, I haven't, because those would tend to walk off unless they're locked down tighter and everything.
I'm talking I guess I'm thinking more of a big pull-behind generator
Yeah.
to where, I mean.
Like they run the stage uptown or something like that, yeah.
I guess what I'm, I think that, I think it's gonna be great. I just think that the expense of the wiring and stuff, I don't know where we're gonna be
I
at that
don't
point.
either.
That's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
just something to throw out there.
Plan
that
B.
you might-
That
that
is
you
Plan
might
B.
look
Look into
into to
because-
see what the cost is to rent.
Right.
And that's a pretty aggressive raising $150,000.
Very
It
aggressive.
is, it is.
Yeah,
But-
but we're so far behind. I mean, after what, 20 years, we only have 30 displays? You
Right.
know, we'll never get anywhere with that
Yeah.
kind of pace.
Right.
But it will take because they are very expensive, so
Yeah.
the fundraising, that would be great if we can get this together.
Because I've been looking at them, they do average about 5,000, some are more, some are less, some are even around $40,000. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to stay away from those for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, the mayor showed me one, and it was very grandiose, but no, my goodness, yeah, it was
20-something.
salty, yeah. You saw that too, there you go.
Yeah, he showed me that. It was,
well, that's great. So if you'll keep us updated, and then, all of us need to keep in mind, try to do a little fundraising and solicit some funds. I think, I'm all for it. I think it'll be great.
We also discussed where those funds would go, rather than Brian handle the monies, where it go to the Park Foundation and filter
Yeah.
the money through there, where I don't take any hand donations, Brian doesn't take any.
Yeah, that's
It
a
is
good
actually
idea.
going to the Park Foundation. We have a appropriation line for park lighting, or Christmas lights, but I think it would be best to go through the foundation and let them, they also can keep the monies there and get a little interest or whatever, but I'd rather them facilitate
Yeah,
the monies
that's a good
rather
idea.
than us accept the donations. And I think you're in agreement, weren't you, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because-
is there a way of doing that as far as through the foundation, like Facebook or some type of, where they can donate online? I mean, is that something, John, we can get set up? Do you know?
I'm not sure about that.
I did look at GoFundMe. You have to be a registered 501c3, so if you...
And they take quite a bit out as far as your final.
Right, so
Yeah.
that is a possibility if we go through the Park Foundation.
Park Foundation.
Also, I discovered that a company like Walmart, who might be able to do some funding for us, they go through a grant process, and we would have to go through a 501c3 to do that. So the Park Foundation is definitely something
Yeah.
we would want to
That
talk
would be the way to go then, yeah.
Park Foundation is
Great.
a 501(c), yeah.
So is our Park Foundation aware of this project at this point?
No, we haven't had a meeting. We will have one sometime, what is this, the 1st January already? Sometime this month, we will have a meeting and I'll discuss it. We have several financial people on there that talk to them about it and actually see, which I'll get back with Brian and we'll go forward. But they are a 501(c) and do take donations, so.
That'd be great.
Good, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank
Keep
you
up
very
the good
much.
work.
That's
Yes.
great. Okay. Emily, did you have anything for us this evening?
No, like I have some
Could-
ideas. Oh, sorry.
Go on up.
Apologies.
Yeah, and say your name.
I'm new to this, guys.
Make it official, right?
Yeah.
Please state your name and address. Do you do that also? Or whatever.
Name and
Go ahead.
address?
Yes.
Emily Doherty, 608 South Meridian. I just moved here this summer, and I talked to John on the phone last week, visiting some parks and stuff in the area, and we kind of talked about some ideas that I had as far as like keeping up the free libraries and stuff around town. I noticed that the one in Longley Park is fairly run down, and he mentioned that there were some vandalism issues with that. So I'd like to do some volunteer work with that, to repaint that and help maintain the other ones if possible. I don't know if those are sponsored by certain people. I just think that that's a nice thing that the city offers, and those should be kept looking nice. Another suggestion I have, very loose idea, and I believe I'm in the right spot for it. Does our town have like a market that runs, like an outdoor market that runs in our town. We do?
Yeah, they have a farmer's market every Friday. I believe it begins in May and runs till
Yeah, May until October.
October. It's every Friday
Okay.
from like 4 till 8, 4
Yes.
to 7.
It's right
something.
under the Bill Estes. Well, you're new to the area, right on 39 you know where that is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I did have a suggestion as a way to bring additional funds to the city and people to the city. I'm from a town in northwest Indiana called Chesterton. It's smaller than Lebanon. Really nice little town, and they run something every year called the European Market, and it does amazing to the point where they have a waiting list for vendors to come to this market, and they do everything from, it's like a farmer's market, they have that there, local bakeries, wineries, meat, like
Adrian's?
Yes,
We've had that also. Just to let you know, we have had there's been wine there. Have you ever stopped into the farmer's market or?
I have not.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But it goes outside of just
Donuts, I think we
food
even
and
have
stuff. It goes outside of that to local people who make products. So if there are people who do quilts or things like this, and they normally have some type of entertainment during the duration, and they run it Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings. And I thought that would be a really great thing to maybe hold at Memorial Park. So it would show off our gorgeous park that we have there, and also just bring people in. I've talked to someone from here actually who's lived here for a while, not from Chesterton at all, stumbled on that town. Now every year they make multiple trips up there specifically for this market. And I thought, how wonderful would it be to have that here, because I've looked at our surrounding towns and none of them really have anything like that. So just a suggestion.
I think Joe LePage heads that up, doesn't he? Or doesn't
Yeah,
he?
but it could, I mean, somebody to help out with that and have
Sure.
some input, because it goes in spurts. It's a little slow sometimes, and it could use a little, but Joe could use the help. 'cause
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
got a lot of
We
irons in the
we
fire.
actually tried it at Memorial Park about 6 years ago, and it ran for 2-3 years, and there was the vendors just disappeared. We ended up, I think the last vendors we had one fresh vegetable. The honey people quit coming, and then there were poodle,
Clothes,
dog clothes, I
clothes.
think was the last holdout there, and it just didn't,
I liked it.
through advertising or whatever, didn't function.
Right.
Joe's got a pretty good thing going on, Joe LePage at the Farmers, but I'm sure he'd be open to any suggestions, and I'll get you his contact or whatever.
Yeah, that
Another
would be
option would be
great.
now that, well, as soon as downtown is finished, to be able to show off our brand new gorgeous square that's done. Maybe if the town would be open to shutting off a section of the street, which is what they do in Chesterton. They shut off a section of the street Sunday mornings, and then you line the vendors down the street. So not only is it bringing people from outside to those vendors, but then they're already on the square to support local businesses.
And maybe it's different now that we have our new gorgeous downtown, but we did that, it went from the park, then it went uptown on the, that's the other spot. And
Can I ask
it
what
was-
they did as far as soliciting vendors?
I know there's a registry out there, and I know he got on the registry, and to be quite honest, I stepped back when he stepped in.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have any success at it. I just know that other systems had it, and I thought it'd be great for our community. He's done pretty good with it, but there again, Joe's in charge of that. I
Okay,
stepped back.
just because I have some ideas as far as how to go about getting people to come.
Yes.
And I mean, maybe some type of booth costs being lower. I know some places run it $50 up to $150 for a booth.
Yeah, I don't think ours were even
Okay,
that.
yeah.
And the entertainment, he did a little bit with, I think he tried a DJ. They had a fresh food out there too that we're cooking. I think Adrian's helped out with that.
I would highly
just-
recommend trying to find just what I think would do better in that scenario as opposed to a DJ is maybe like a local person who plays guitar and sings, I think would be more fitting for that type of
There you go.
environment. But just some suggestions, I think that would be really beneficial to our town and bring some people south of here up to our area.
That'd be great.
I think
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, if you get Joe LePage's information from John,
Yeah,
because I
if
know.
you'll stick around after the meeting,
he
I'll
would
get Joe
welcome that.
LePage, and that'd be
Absolutely.
good, yeah.
Isn't there a kind of a long-term plan for that property where the farmer's market currently takes place that is going to be more in keeping with this kind of what she's describing?
Yes, yes, there is.
Well-
That Balestis property?
I think so. I don't think they're set in a contract yet.
Not yet, but yeah,
that
it's
would be
moving forward.
something else, but, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm not too educated on what we currently have in place. I just, I know I saw this past summer when I was driving down, like the little setup that was held on, is it Lebanon Street that runs right under what appears to have formerly been a car dealership?
That's
That was
property,
it.
yeah,
That's the
that
same
was it,
property,
yeah.
okay. I thought you were talking about one further down by.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. I just feel like that does not showcase the best assets that our town has as far as visually, aesthetically. I think that it would be nicer if it was located somewhere, and also somewhere where there are more businesses, where if people are coming into the town for that, we already have them in the area. I mean, if someone comes into the town for something like that, they're going to stop and grab lunch, and they could stop at an awesome place like Arnie's or Greek's or
Yeah.
People's Revel Room. I just think it would be beneficial, but yeah, sorry for the rambling.
No.
No, you're fine.
No, that's what
great.
Emily and I discussed too, Abner Longley, and some of the changes going on there, and I tried to inform her. I hope I was helpful in a little bit.
Absolutely.
But
I appreciate it.
telling about our master plan, our 5-year plan of where we're going with things. We have taken the disc golf baskets out. We had some, I think we all know our drainage issues. I told her we're in the process of topography. Then we can go on into the drainage, but that's in the 5-year plan that we do. And those baskets will return. We aren't removing them for good. A couple were vandalized, unfortunately, but there's several that we removed because they were in the flood. They were flooded out, basically.
Yeah, once
So-
we get rid of the,
Yeah.
solve our drainage issues.
Right, she
and
said the
all
tennis
of-
courts down there are shambles, which we all are in agreement of that. We've talked about pickleball. If you remember Deb Schmucker, our looked at it, we were looking at that. I think Emily even agreed that is a big, what?
I actually looked into that a little bit more after we talked.
It's
First off,
huge.
that park is right down the road from my street or right down the road from my home. And I am like such a big supporter in that park evolving just because it has so many great things.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but so my fiance plays disc golf, and that is one of the few nice disc golf courses in the area. And
It's professionally laid out, and all that was
Exactly.
volunteers, everything was donated. All
It's
that was
beautiful.
donated down there, yeah. And it's,
And just
unfortunately,
that-
there's been a little bit of vandalism, but
Yeah.
we're getting security cameras. We have all the security cameras down there now. We have the splash pad that's coming. Our Symphony at Sunset, we have another, in a couple, 3 months here, we have a new Renaissance Festival going in down there.
think
We
that
have
will
youth
do well.
football. Used to do soccer, we have competitive softball, co-ed softball. But so we are trying, but other ideas for that property is good. I think we have in line softball fields, kind of a clover leaf type, which is good. But we're also getting ready to get a property down there. As I said, the warehouses that are down there, the old tube forming, getting real close to purchasing those, which that'll be really nice too, that we have that, but,
As far
and a
as
trail
pickleball
going all the way
goes,
around, that's something that I
That's going
really
to
want.
be super beneficial
And-
because
and
it
going
is
through
kind
the
of hard
cons-
to walk on the
Oh.
uneven ground.
And that conservation club, getting it going. And as you see, there's a trail that comes down Hendricks Drive and goes to nowhere. It goes to a flooded little,
Yeah.
and we're looking at also putting some kind of barricade up there that we're looking at. But we had quite a conversation, I think.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
As far as pickleball goes, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I recently joined our Y in town. And if you look at their gym schedule at the Y, several times a week, all throughout the week, they have pickleball like classes and clubs that meet there. And how wonderful would it be for us to give a facility for them to hold tournaments? Because those are things which I was not aware of previously, but pickleball tournaments to, again, bring more people into the area. I personally know people, since I started looking into this, who travel like all throughout the state for these tournaments. And it would, again, just be beneficial in highlighting our town and bringing people from outside of here in, so.
I would agree.
Great idea.
Thanks for your interest.
Oh, no problem.
Yes, very much.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah,
And
great
welcome
ideas.
to the area.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, John, do you want to update us on the projects under old business, or do you have them in the director's report?
Yes, the memorial shelter has a new roof now, and it looks great. We do have a metal roof that went on last month. We're waiting to put the cupola on there, along with there's an eagle on top of it. It's made of brass or copper, so it'll green up. We're kind of holding off a little bit, so it'll look better in 2020. That's through the Rotary, but as soon as the weather breaks, we can get it. You'll see at the top of that, there's a couple boards up there, but that's where the cupola will go, along with the eagle. It's really sharp looking, but that's moving along. The splash pad is in construction phase. It's underway. The trailer from the company that's doing the work is down there now. See them down there. They have it all. Temporary fencing has been installed. We have temporary power that, Lori, thank you very much for all your hard work and getting temporary power to them. That was like a act of God right there, but thank you, Lori. The digging will start soon with the purchase. We've also purchased the water fixtures and features. We did a direct purchase to save the city money. If we direct purchase it, we ended up saving money, so we've already got that. That will be in our $600,000 that we were appropriated, the parks fund balance that we were appropriated, that we had kind of in our savings there. But that's moving right along, and we already have a timeline, and that will be completed the very first of May, before the middle of May. And the timeline looks very realistic and doable, so we're looking forward to that. The dog park is in process too. It's kind of a standstill as a couple of these projects due to the utility contractor that came out. It's not the utilities, but they contracted a company to put these KV69 pads in for the KV69 going in, and that's electric power that's coming through the Conservation Club. When they drilled, it just left a mess. We haven't been able to clean it up, obviously, with the wet conditions. As soon as we can get it straightened around, that'll be nice. We can seed it, sod it, whatever we do to get that thing going. I don't want to put fencing up around it because there is some grading that this company will have to do. So as soon as the weather really gets nicer and a little drier, we can get that. We already have the water installed, and the electric is getting installed out there with a couple of security lights also on that property. Let me see, what other project? The maintenance barn, our restroom. I'll soon have our restroom maintenance addition projects out for bid. That'll be going out probably next week. We'll be advertising those. There again, we will have an opening bid on the 28th at the second meeting of the council this month. Looking forward to seeing what those bids come in at. That will be for the restroom and the addition of the maintenance barns, paving and whatnot there. But we've been working on that for, since September, I believe, is how long that project, all these projects been going on quite a few months, needless to say. Quite a few meetings and behind closed doors and all that, working on the particulars of it. Unfortunately, this last week we lost a couple of trees with the stormy weather. They're pretty healthy trees too. There again, I think we lost a couple Memorial Park, and we lost one at the Conservation Club and one at Abner Long Lake, so I guess 4 trees. Pretty well have those all cleaned up now. Let me see what else. Paving in Memorial Park is another project. That will be for along 39. There's a 10-foot path that we'll be installing. That'll be held off till the spring due to the conditions. And the other one, the extension of the trail going to downtown, down Northeast Street, that will connect right into the park. It'll go from in between the cabin and the shelter there at Memorial and go towards the park. That way people don't have to push their strollers and ride their bikes, you know, in the roads. So that'll be going in also in the spring. And the good note, we are hiring for 2019, so if you are interested in working at the Parks Department, we do have an opening. There again, love to sit down and talk with you. It's a great family that we have. We're all hard working, but we all love giving to our community. We have a lot of dedicated guys working very hard to keep our parks up. I think part of this job will be weekends and be working down at the downtown in the flower beds and things like that. So looking forward to at least interviews and discussing and talking and seeing what we have. There'll be a formal advertising for the maintenance person coming up this week in our newsletter and there. So we also, the park board had approved, I think Taylor and Allison came and came before the board to, and Taylor is the office manager, Allison is the programs director, and they came before you about software. When we got the contract in and the council signed off on the monies and everything, it's still that we had in our budget. Didn't like they threw something in there, a 30-cent charge for each card transaction, and that was never discussed prior to that. So my negotiating was, you didn't tell me before, remove it, or we don't want your service. So they've kind of taken a back seat right now. They haven't negotiated too well. So unless they want to negotiate and do better, then we probably won't be using that software.
Was that the cards that we would sell to the taxpayers? Is that for the pool and so forth?
No, that was actually so you could get online and you can book the pool for, you know, for an event, or you could book a shelter or whatever, rather than having to call into the office. A lot of the, you know, it's just technology.
They're charging 30 cents.
30 cents a card transaction. So somebody coming to buy a Coke at the concession stand, a lot of these kids don't carry money. They have cards now, and they'll use the card. It'd be $1.30 for the drink instead of $1.
Credit card or debit card.
If you buy a 25-cent candy, you're paying $1 or 55 cents for it.
30 cents was high.
Yeah,
Most of those.
and I didn't think that was right. The square that we're currently using is 7 cents, or, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say 30 cents per transaction.
Yeah, I saw that.
Pretty
Well,
high.
actually,
Yeah, that's
Allison,
really
I think, or Taylor both said, hey, look at this. And it's like, oh, we can't sign that contract. That was never discussed. It was supposed to be apples to apples with Square. We weren't going to lose anything. The clerk treasurer had also signed off and said it was good to go, but not when they throw something like that. And I just put it back on them to negotiate, say, no, we didn't. So we'll see where we go from there. If they want to come to our terms, and then it'll be fine. But we might not be using that software. Needless to say, we're looking at others. She did call around, Diane, because your question was, have you checked others? Valparaiso, she made a couple, 3 or 4 phone calls. They're very pleased with the service. But even such, they got to come to our terms, I
I'd be
feel.
curious, though, if those places that are pleased, if they have that same fee set in their
Exactly.
contract.
Yeah,
Or is that something that's been
this
added?
was after that we found that out. She made the phone calls prior to us saying, hey, okay, we're on board. But then when the contract came, that's when that. But no, we were on board after talking with them, because that was one of the stipulations that you asked to, you know, to call and check other places that had it, communities. And obviously Valparaiso is a lot bigger, and we thought that would be a really good indicator. They were very pleased with the service. There's a lot of similar ones out there, so.
I'd be interested to know if,
Yeah.
like you
They have
said,
that fee or not.
if the fee was
Yeah, that's,
presented to them. And
30 cents.
We look at the
That's-
fine print around here. I mean, it's, yeah,
30
that's
cents
30.
could add up pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, 30 cents is huge. It's, you know, above and beyond, because there's still 0.285, there's still a 30%.
There's still a fee,
Almost a 30% fee already there, so that's a lot more than, yeah. 30 cents a transaction is just,
Well, thank you for
Quite a bit.
scrutinizing that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
we're tight around our park.
Yeah.
That's we have to be, but,
Money is important.
no, I just thought I'd update you on that. The phone calls were made. Allison made the phone calls and got very good feedback, so I was on board. The clerk treasurer, we met with Tanya, and Tanya was good with it, so went forward with it. But then when the contract came, we kind of read it over real good, and no, they didn't discuss those things prior to. So there again, the girls in the office are awesome and amazing, so
Yeah, good
really
catch.
blessed about that, yeah. And
Yeah, we have, there's
it
good
is,
office
and
staff.
they weren't too happy either, so there you go. And
They were pretty excited about it.
yeah, they
You
were
could
very,
tell
no, they
very
were on
excited.
board, they were on board until that, and it's like, how dare you not tell us the information totally prior to that, and yeah, they were a little disappointed in the company, and the company hasn't come back to the table yet, and that was before the holidays, or right around Christmas time that we discussed it and told them, here's the bottom line, and they haven't gotten back with us, so I guess they didn't want our business that well, and that's quite a bit of money, so.
Yes, it is.
I have a question for you, John.
Yes.
You gave us a targeted completion date for the splash pad at the first part of May.
Yes.
So it's ready for the season.
Correct.
I know weather's a big factor, but do you have a targeted completion for the dog park and for the restrooms at Memorial Park?
I don't for the restrooms. I'll have that after the bid process and we sit down with a contractor, but the dog park, we're moving right along. It'll be the 1st of May, depending on when we can get in there and grade that. And they're going to grade the work. I don't want to do their grade work. They left a mess. John's been down there, I think a couple of you have.
Yeah, it's not acceptable.
No, it isn't. And if you look on down the road on Noble Street, they did another one right next to a house, and there was no mess. So I'm not sure what happened there, but ours is really pretty messy. And they were pretty careful, I got to say that. They put boards down, but until they clean up their mess, we can't put the fencing up. And I believe we're going to get some pavers in there and do some things too.
Oh, they did quite a bit of damage just driving in and out.
Yeah, they did.
Driving on the grass and driving.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And we
They-
had quite a bit of that already graded and seeded, and that was the unfortunate part. We were ready, got great prices on fencing to go up, already have the water installed, the electric's right behind it, so we're real close. There again, there'll be a lot of process, and I'll probably update you at the next meeting of dog tags and things like that, or things that you have to go through to get a, what do you call it? Fob, key fob. Yeah. And the licensing and the fees. And we'll have to get together, the dog committee, and put the fees together, and the dog committee, the dog park committee, and put the fees, and then the park board will have to approve that. Maybe at our next meeting, we'll have those numbers for you, but we got to get some things together. But it will be open the 1st of May too. There again, the Conservation Club, we're going to be tearing it down maybe this month, possibly, or we'll see where that goes, but hopefully we'll get it torn down. And quite a bit of projects going on. We're also renovating and making a little break room inside our maintenance, kind of extending it. We really have never had one at the park, but now that we have 8 guys, it's kind of needed that everybody can sit and take their 10-minute, 15-minute break, which they won't, but at least they'll have a place to do it if they need be.
If they choose.
And yeah, everything tends to be moving along just fine.
I know the 69 line is a monumental project for the city and very important towards the city, and I'm sure they'll come back and fix everything.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I know they were under a timeline also, and
Those pads are huge. I mean,
They're
the equipment they
massive.
came in was
they're massive.
half the size of this room, and the crane that was, and they
Yeah.
still have a lot more work to do.
It
Yeah,
was
the
interesting
poles.
to watch them put it in.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And
Yeah,
they were
but-
really nice guys, and
Yeah.
they just couldn't do, they can't move mud. I mean, they can't
They
do
got into
it.
a bad time as far as all the
Yeah.
water and
Yeah.
everything. It was just,
Yeah, because the poles they're going to be setting are massive, so
Yeah.
these foundations had to be done and then have to set for quite a long time before they can even do that.
We've
with
done
it.
a little bit of work down there, but what little work we've done at the Conservation Club, which was 2.5 weeks, it looks so beautiful, and the community is just going to love that park. It's just, with the trails going through it, I just can't say how beautiful that piece of property is.
It is.
If you've seen it, if you want to come out there, I'll be happy to take you out there. It's beautiful.
It's still, do we still have the deer?
Yeah, I haven't seen the deer lately. I saw beaver and saw the fox and its little babes.
Oh, yeah.
And
I forgot
yeah,
about the fox.
haven't seen the deer recent, so she'll come back.
Yeah.
We left the gates open. Maybe she got out.
She had it
Oh,
made
that was,
there. I don't think
that was
she-
a strange call today, and Brad Bailey took it. There was bones found, and it was not human bones out on the trail. We were just out there Wednesday because we take, we go down the trail to Thorntown once a week, and we made a trip Wednesday. Didn't see anything trash other than the normal. But someone out there walking today called in and found bones. So Brad Bailey went out, and it was not human bone, it was an animal bone. So they were worried about human bones, and it's like, nah, it wasn't. So
Do you go on a truck?
yeah, we drive a truck all the way down there, and we've tried to mark out, there's some pops in it. When we put the asphalt down, when that was installed, they didn't break up the slag steel. So wherever it was puckering, it's puckering the same spots. What we're doing is outlining them with white paint, and we try and keep those marked. They were pretty rough, so we went out Wednesday and did it again. We do it about every two months, 3 months to mark them, because you hit that on a bicycle and you're feeling it. And we'll grind them down eventually. That's the best we can do. But yeah, that's pretty frustrating to see some of those bumps out there. But they are marked. We're trying to keep it clean. The birdhouses, people have mentioned the birdhouses out there, and the boiler one didn't make it, but there you go.
The what did you say, the what?
The Boilermaker one,
knew
that, yeah. Somebody painted one of them, Purdue, big P on it, and then, yeah, it didn't make it out there, so.
You put it in your front yard, right?
Yeah, very good. But no, they have been, I appreciate the FFA and the, who all was involved with that. Who was with that, Diane?
It was the ag department.
Ag Department. That was
They
Andy
grew
Dardini,
birdhouses.
I think, was ramrodding it, wasn't he? I think it was Andy Dardini that was
Yes,
ramrodding it.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
He was in
appreciate
charge of
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
And there you go. That's all I had.
Okay,
That's a lot.
that's a lot. Okay, has everybody had a chance to look over the claims?
I have not.
Oh, sorry.
Ruh-roh.
Okay, we'll give John a chance to look at the claims.
We
Any other
do
thing?
have some challenges, I think, coming up with the splash pad that's going back at Abner Longley. That's a difficult area to find and locate. When you guys get a chance, drive down there, see how you have to enter that park. We have little signage, but I think that's going to be our next difficult. I think it's going to be very, very busy down there, and if you're not from this area, I think it's difficult to know how to navigate to get back there. We have signage going, but that's easy to miss if you're a blind driver like me, so.
I thought I knew where it was going, and I drove down to look at it the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it isn't where I thought. So, but I know the area, so
Yeah.
I did find it and
Yes,
everything.
but if you don't,
Oh,
it's
I
gonna
can
be,
see.
you can
We're-
park over by the tennis court and walk over, but if you have 3 or 4 little ones, I think that's something that we need to really, there's a
We're
house
gonna
for
get out.
sale. Did you see the house on Northeast Street?
Did.
It's for sale. I think we ought to be looking at possibly purchasing these houses as if they come for sale, that we purchase and widen that. I mean, every youth football time that we have, it's difficult to get in and out of there.
It was my understanding, and maybe I'm incorrect, and if I am, I'm sorry, but I was under the understanding that the house that was going to be, it'd be west of Timmons, was being purchased to have another exit.
The utilities purchased one over from there, that's where but yes, there's actually 2 houses that we purchased, that are east or west, you're right, west of, yeah. But there's still no direct connectivity, there's still a house in the middle of it to get there. If you go down the easement, there is a little easement, but it go right through his yard, I think, I think there's an easement there again. I don't know, it's never been, I probably should
Get a survey.
I probably should survey that. We're gonna have a survey there anyway, but it isn't, yeah, probably should stake
I
it.
would question that, 'cause I
Yeah.
mean, that would be an excellent.
That would be
place
ideal to
exit.
come in that way, because Noble Street coming in off of Noble, that's
And that's what I thought
that's
they
the
were
same
doing.
thing that we need to probably think about too, is the address at the Conservation Club when we do get a facility there. And even though we've talked about it being part of Abner Longley, do you want a Longley address and you'll come off Hendricks Drive? Or, because people will notice that coming off of Noble. Right now, it's got a Noble address, Noble Street, 701 or 700, 701, I think it is. That's just a couple things that I've been thinking about is, I think that's our next challenge is to get into that park. I think we're going to have a lot of activity down there. We did do something with our security cameras too. We're having TV screens put in the office so they will be visually looking at them at all time, monitors that will be, rather than having to punch up your computer and look at it, they'll be constantly rolling right in front
That's
of.
a great idea.
Right in front of the Allison, and we'll have two in the office, so they'll be monitored all the time, and we'll have it on that splash pad so we can actually see if
Do
there
you
is
not
any.
have cameras outside as well around the pool? that
Yes,
you can-
we,
That you can
yeah,
put together?
yeah, we can put like 10 of them up
I
there
was
at a
going to
time.
say,
or
you'll be
20.
able to monitor all the
Yeah,
cameras.
that's what I'm
around
saying,
on
but
the
at least we'll be
screen.
able to see any activity, and if it's
going on.
bad
It'll be live.
activity, rather than after the fact, we might be able to get some of these knuckleheads ahead of time, yeah.
I'm getting tired of Days of Our Lives, so I can come out to the park and just watch.
That'd be great.
And watch the security.
There again, I think
There you go.
that's one of our challenges. That's one of our challenges is getting our volunteerism up, and if we can get more volunteers, such as a couple in the audience tonight, I think that's another big challenge we have is to try and get more volunteers out here to help us out and monitor ourselves, for crying out loud. We can't expect the police to be everywhere at once, and just my 2 cents. We do the best we can. We catch a lot of them, but not enough of them. And that happens everywhere, I think you see. Okay, off my soapbox. There we go.
You would need to come up.
Yeah, come to the podium.
You would have to come to the
Or
podium.
you can talk afterwards, whichever way you'd want to do it.
Well, is this being recorded? 'Cause I just think that there are questions that other people will want answers to.
It's on TV.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
So,
I'm
yeah.
going to miss a couple questions if that's okay. Sorry.
Okay.
There's only one or two who watch, but
Okay.
it's on.
Name?
Emily Doherty.
There you go.
608 South Meridian.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, okay. So the splash pad, is there going to be a fence around that?
It's been discussed, but
been
I
discussed.
honestly don't know.
I wasn't sure
would
if there was
say
like a plan layout somewhere where we could
There
see
is not a
visual-
layout, but I
Okay.
think it will be installed. I can't say for sure. It isn't in the plans, but I
Okay.
think needs will say yes, we will.
Okay.
You think?
As far as the Conservation Club, do you have a completion date for that?
Oh, no.
No?
it's-
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
Or like even like a year idea,
5 year-
like
five-
this year, next year?
5 years.
plan.
5 year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
We have a master plan for the whole park development.
Right.
Okay.
It's been in the works for quite some time.
yeah.
The trail, once you guys, connect that trail, are there plans for like lighting and such on that as it will be going through woods, correct?
There is no lighting plans.
Okay.
No, it's just too costly, and there again, we don't have any utilities running out that way, and it's
Okay.
just too costly.
So
We
it
do
would
have
just-
security cameras that are
Okay.
currently going in now, which is big. There's 3 security cameras going out, but no, it's, well, no.
Maybe future.
Yeah.
So is there like a sign posted like for hours? I'm just thinking public safety wise.
There are not.
Okay.
All
It's just
parks are. Yeah,
dusk till dawn
Yeah, well, 11 o'clock is what we say at most of them.
or dawn till dusk, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Sunset.
Oh, okay. The dog park, you mentioned a couple of requirements to get in there. Is the city planning on like making like ordinances as far as making sure that dogs that go into that park are
Vaccinated?
vaccinated,
Absolutely.
heartworm, all of that?
Absolutely.
How are we going to go about checking
You'll
that
have
and
to
verifying
to
it?
get your key fob or your entrance into the gate. You'll have to come to the Parks Department. We'll keep a record. We'll have to see the records of all the dogs. And we're still ironing out some of those issues, but for the most part, no, you'll have to have all your shots up to date, vaccinations, and then you'll get a key fob to get in. And as soon as your date's up, your key fob will shut off.
Is it,
And there will be
so
a
it's going
fee.
to essentially be a private
Yes.
park? You will have to pay a membership
Absolutely,
fee? Is
yes.
there a ballpark idea of how much that would cost?
I think the dog park committee's right here, so I think 35 to 45, but as far as that,
I don't know that we
I don't know that
settled.
we've
yeah,
really set
we're
one
still
yet.
ironing it out. We're
Okay.
gonna keep it as
Keep it,
cost effective
yeah,
as we
right.
can, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's a lot of upkeep to it. I mean, you've got,
absolutely, yeah, and hopefully dog owners will do their part as well.
that's what we're hoping.
I'm sorry
No.
about all the questions. My last one is kind of an oddball one. With all of these additions and expansions being done to all the parks, do you guys have any relationship with geocachers in the area by chance? Are you guys familiar with this at
Yes,
all?
I am. And
Okay.
even though they aren't supposed to be on government property, if you read the fine print, it is not supposed to be on any government
Right.
property.
I just
Because we
know
had the
some
bomb scares
places-
some time back,
Yeah.
and we were finding them, and it is worrisome when some people are out and you aren't supposed to dig in the parks.
Right,
But-
well,
but-
none of them should be dug
Yeah.
anymore. I know
Yeah.
that a lot of parks that I've come in contact with, the Parks Department has contacted like the Geocaching Association and given permission for them to be there. I wasn't sure if our Parks Department has that.
I joined it, but as far as that, no, I think it's pretty cool. However, it isn't supposed to be on any government. They were hiding them at the courthouse too, and that was a big scare up there.
Okay,
Yeah, because they're little boxes and things, and you put
Right.
something in, yeah. And,
This property, there's some.
That's a
yeah,
different thing.
are there really?
Yeah.
Are you a geocacher too?
Yeah.
All right.
yeah, they're all
I
over the
didn't
place.
know that. Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Geocaching is
can't
like,
explain.
like my team is called Grandma Dee Dee's Grandkids.
There you go.
Okay, I do it with my grandchildren. And we take coins or little trinkets and things like that, and you search for these items. They're like in little tubes or something's a little scrolled, and if you find one, then you open it up and you sign your team on there and what the date is.
What the date
and
is
then
and
you
put it
might
in.
leave a trinket, or you may take a trinket, you may leave one.
Yeah.
So it's a
It is.
The community
I'm not
itself
laughing
is
about it, I
actually
just
very
didn't know anything.
interesting, and they, so a couple things is, it goes by GPS coordinates, so whoever places it, someone within the geocaching community would place it with GPS coordinates that they would then load onto the website. So if you're looking for it, you can do it from your phone or a handheld GPS, and it'll guide you to the location.
like tips on
But-
the app.
Yeah.
It sounds like that game that the kids were
It is.
playing with the.
We also don't allow metal detectors or any digging in there, and
Okay.
that's on all our park
One of my
signage.
questions was just, a big part of the geocaching community is called, they're very big in like keeping the earth clean and stuff like that. And I know you guys mentioned problems along the trail with trash. There's a trail that runs through Northwest Indiana, also the Monon Trail. Both have geocaches the entire length down it. Like I think the amount of space that needs to be between a cache is like 100 feet or something like that. So every 100 feet, there is one down the entire trail, and people will get on their bike and go down it. But a big thing with geocachers is leave the area cleaner than it was when you got there. And they have big events in parks all over the place. And they have specific events called CETO events, which is cash in, because cash is spelled C-A-C-H, cash in, trash out, where they specifically go into these areas to clean it up while they're finding geocaches. So that I know that it's kind of a gray area because you don't want them placed on government property.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
But
Especially
they
when
could
that
do a lot
bomb
of good
scare, that's
things
when
in
I
parks.
started, and people were calling, going, there's a bomb over here, and it was pretty, yeah.
It can get scary. There have
Yeah.
been several
Oh, I must leave
bomb
the
scares
shelter
as far as
lost.
geocaching, but just an idea.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. Yes.
It's an international thing.
And how long has it been going
10
on?
years.
Oh,
at least.
probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I
at
didn't
least
know
10.
about it until a few years ago.
I think because they used to hide stuff out at
Yeah, it's fun.
Donald's. We'd
It's so
see
much
people
fun.
out front at
My
Donald's.
husband and I have done it.
I'll be
It sounds
darned.
like a dorky thing to do, but.
I'm a sheltered person. I
We have the cemetery.
We did start
cemetery.
taking the Christmas tree lights down now too, all the Christmas lights, those are being stored now, so we've started that, and, yeah, no, there's,
John said
I didn't know I was gonna learn so
I
much
can't
tonight.
believe
I'll
you're,
tell you, when I started doing it with the grandkids and stuff, I looked at things in a different way.
you do.
Because normally, you're
Have you
on
done
your
it?
mission,
Yeah.
you're going from point A to point B. Well, when you think of things differently, you go, oh, that'd be a good place to hide a geocache, you know? They're magnetic, they're on like utility boxes. And
Yeah, and the cabin, a lot of them use that cabin, and that's where they were around the cabin. That's
the
where
armory, the armory
Yes,
has one.
that's, yeah.
Sometimes they're on fire hydrants.
But did you know they are not supposed to be on government property? I didn't know
You
that.
told me that, and I
Yeah.
said, that's bad, but I didn't realize that.
I read that. I'm a metal detector too, and to tell the people no, that they can't metal detect, but there's some goofballs out there that destroy the property and dig holes, and then we just can't have that. Some ruined it for others, and same
The
thing with
intent
the.
behind it is purely
It's,
harmless.
oh, absolutely,
I'll be.
yeah.
Okay, is everybody, John, do you have a
I
chance?
did.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve the claims.
I'll make a motion that we approve the claims.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Now, if there's no other business to come before the Park Commission, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move we adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, Brian and Emily.
Brian, I have something to share with you.